So today we're actually going to start looking at how the cell membrane, or the plasma membrane, which is another name for it, works to control what goes into and out of cells. So as your cells are doing their job, they have to get oxygen in, they have to get water in, they need to get nutrients in order to run. They do things that create waste. They got to get that waste out of the cells. And all of that is controlled by the cell membrane, again, also known as the plasma membrane. So they must be able to adjust to their environment. Okay, you got to stay in balance also. Now, living cells keep a balance in order keeping everything right where it needs to be in order to work and stay alive. They keep a balance by controlling what enters and leaves them. Kind of like when you're really, really thirsty, you drink more water to get more water in. If you've had a lot of water, what do? You go to the bathroom more often to get water out. So you control it, what comes in and goes out, and cells do the same thing. Now, the balance of an organism's internal environment in order to keep conditions suitable for life is called homeostasis. Now, a good example of homeostasis is your body temperature. We all know that the average temperature for a human should be around 98.6. And we've all really been paying attention to that lately as we worry about viruses and stuff. And so we know we're supposed to be about 98.6. If our temperature gets too high, we call it a fever. And as you know, you don't feel good when you have a fever. Okay? The reason why is because your body's not in homeostasis. Your temperature is not where it needs to be for your body to do its best work. 98.6 is where it wants to be. And so your body will work to keep homeostasis. Examples is, you know how when you're cold you shiver? All right, well that's lots of little muscle contractions. And that builds up heat in your muscles, and that'll raise your body temperature and warm you up. That's why you shiver when you're cold. Or if you get too hot, like when you're outside in the summertime, okay, you start sweating. All right, sweat is water on the surface of your skin and it evaporates. And that evaporation is trying to cool you down because your body's got too hot. Again, your body works to maintain that temperature at 98.6, which is homeostasis. And cells do the same thing, just on a much tinier scale. All right, the homeostasis in those cells is going to be controlled by the plasma membrane. And the property of a membrane that allows some things to go in and out, so pass through it, and keeping other things from being able to pass is called selective permeability. Some things can go through it, other things cannot. That is selective permeability. Now, this is how selective permeability works. So what you're imagining here is that this is like a bowl of water, and right here in the middle, this yellow, is a membrane. Now that membrane doesn't close stuff off. Some things can go through it and some things can't. And so what you're looking at is these little blue dots are water. Water molecules are actually really, really small. Okay? And so those water molecules can go back and forth through this membrane. But then you have these starch molecules. Starch molecules are big. And the starch molecules are too large to fit through these little tiny holes in the membrane. And so while the water can go back and forth as much as it wants, the starch is all stuck on this side because it can't get through. So that's what we mean by selective permeability, or a selectively permeable membrane. Some things can go through it, in this case water. Some things cannot, in this case starch. All right, and we're going to be working with some membranes to see how this actually works, and hopefully that'll help answer your questions.